Hey everyone, welcome to the readings of the Chapter 2 updates of Dee's Journal in Bravely Defaults. Again, going over only the new things in each character's selection, as well as any new terms, characters, locations, anything new that's been added to Dee's Journal that's related to the story. So, let's get started. These are the updates to Ring a Bell. I can't believe it! The sage and I were on the verge of convincing her, but our plan was ruined by that spoil sport from Narende. To think we could have seen Agnes's sensuous form wrapped in the Bravo bikini at the Sacred Flower Festival. You and that naive smile of yours don't know what you're missing. In Florem, I was addressed by a middle-aged man accompanied by a woman. He spouted some nonsense about a double date and his technique, then vanished into the night. Though he didn't say it outright, I feel like my manliness has been brought into question. I asked Adia what he had meant about technique, but she just gave me a cold stare. Adia wore the Bravo bikini, and who should take the bait but the Red Mage Fiore de Rosa, head of the Blood Rose Legion. We tracked De Rosa to his underground laboratory and foiled the scheme he was planning for Florem. I'll make more notes later. Updates to Agnes. The Sacred Flower Festival was about to begin when the Bravo bikini plan the sage and I concocted was ruined by that stick-in-the-mud Tiz. Show them you, as you are, he says. Why aren't you with a Vestal garb, he says. Though his words brought a smile to Agnes's face that cast her in a beautiful light, the outcome was most frustrating. Though Agnes's speech at the Sacred Flower Festival fell flat with the crowd, her words reached the Vestal Olivia. Agnes was in such a hurry to meet the friends she did not notice she was being pursued. Reunited at last, Agnes and Olivia shared a joyful embrace. However, a single blast of magic from the Arcanist Victoria tore them apart forever. The Water Vestal's demise removed the shield around the water crystal and it fell into the clutches of evil. After a desperate struggle in which we defeated the creature Rusalka, the distraught Agnes awakened the water crystal, cleansing the seas of the world. Updates to Adia. A sullen mood hung over us as we sailed the inner sea. Then, out of nowhere, Adia offered an apology. She told us she knew the Arcanist Victoria who murdered the water vestal Olivia, and that she was the daughter of the Grand Marshal, head of the Council of Six. This shocking revelation only deepened the tension between us. The hidden village of the Chrysalis lays beyond the Witherwood in northern Florem. There, Adia confronted the Valkyrie Einheria Venus of the Blood Rose Legion. It seems they trained together in their homeland and were as sisters, but they could no longer see eye to eye, and their differences tore them apart. Adia used the Bravo bikini, which she had for some reason taken from the sage, to entice the Red Mage Fiore de Rosa. This poorly fitting attire not only caught De Rosa's attention, it got her kidnapped. After desperate pursuit, we finally located Adia, and bested De Rosa in battle to put an end to his dark ambitions. Update to Eri. Upon reaching the Temple of Water, we found the water crystal protected by a shield, though darkness was still slowly devouring it. Eri thinks the shield was put in place by the water vestal Olivia. Though Tiz was eager to find Olivia, Eri said the shield of a vestal could be removed by another vestal, allowing the crystal to be awakened. An update to Sage Juliana. Agnes decided to take part in the Sacred Flower Festival. While researching the best apparel to wear, we heard word of a perverted old merchant, which we soon realized referred to Sage Juliana. The sage had a costume that would assure her victory, but Tiz poured cold water on the idea, much to the chagrin of the sage and I. Olivia Oblige, the Vestal of Water. She is in hiding, pursued by the Blood Rose Legion. After the Sacred Flower Festival, she told Agnes to come to a village in the west. A 20-year-old girl from Florem. Born the same year as Agnes, they became Vestalings around the same period, and were both made Vestals within a short space of time when their predecessors perished. Likes, noodles, and jelly. Dislikes, roses. The Water Vestal Olivia was constantly on the run in Florem due to the suppression of crystalism by the Blood Rose Legion. She had also recently learned that the Fire Vestal had perished. Just as Olivia and Agnes pledged to join forces to dispel the spreading evil, the Arcanist Victoria unleashed an orb of darkness at them both. Olivia took the full force of the attack, shielding Agnes. Victoria and Victor then battered with us with their magic, and came close to defeating us, but they withdrew after Victoria suffered a seizure. Olivia was beyond saving, and with her dying breath, she entreated Agnes to awaken the water crystal. The Matriarch of Florem. The water vestal Olivia is missing, and though the Matriarch still governs Florem, in recent years people have drifted away from crystalism. Declining public morals have distanced the Matriarch from state affairs. She is acquainted with Agnes. Her age and name are not known. Victoria the Arcanist, Council of Six. A powerful caster, adept at death magic and spells that affect the entire field with effects based on BP. She is unrivaled in offensive magic. A woman of unknown age hailing from Florem. She goes by the name Victoria F. Stein and is holder of the Arcanist asterisk. Despite her infantile looks, she has a viciously cruel personality. She despises the Orthodoxy and the Vestals. Likes the smell of antiseptic, lollipops, and strawberries. Dislikes the Orthodoxy and Vestals. Victoria slipped into Florem together with Victor and managed to win the Sacred Flower Festival. She followed us to the hidden village to the west and slew Olivia just after Anius was reunited with her old friend. We were helpless against her powerful magic, but the onset of her fit forced her to withdraw. Victor S. Court, Council of Six. His keen mind and knowledge of white magic stood out since his youth, and his work made Eternia known as the Land of Everlasting Life. A 25-year-old man from Ansheim. Going by the name Victor S. Court, he is a holder of the Spirit Master asterisk. He has been well-versed in white magic since his youth, earning him great respect. He's in charge of the Arcanist Victoria's treatment. Likes Victoria and tea, dislikes children crying, neglected health, and folk remedies. Victor and Victoria slipped into Florem to capture Anius. They slew the water vessel Olivia at the hidden village to the west, then rained their powerful magic down upon us. When Victoria had a seizure, Victor protected her and carried her away. Artemia the Ranger, Bloodrose, a Legion member who infiltrated Florem. She is a master archer who enjoys the thrill of battle and lives to challenge powerful foes. A 17-year-old girl from Eternia. Her name is Artemia Venus, holder of the Ranger asterisk. She is the youngest of the Venus sisters and worships her eldest sister to the point of neglecting all other relationships. Likes Einheria and worthy prey. Dislikes conversation, relationships, and weak foes. In the woods to the east, we encountered Artemia standing before the remains of massive orochi, which had been hung from tree branches, on her sister's orders, and to satisfy her thirst for the hunt, she was slaying woodland orochi with wanton disregard. It seemed she and Adia knew each other, but they could not see eye to eye. In the end, we had to fight her off. Mephilia the Summoner, Bloodrose, a Legion member who infiltrated Florem. Her emotional scars from the pain she had been through caused her to embrace darkness and destruction. A 24-year-old woman from Eternia. Her name is Mephilia Venus, and she holds the Summoner asterisk. Her mind is broken, and she sees delight in seeing the destruction of beauty. Likes Einheria and Solomon, dislikes naive idealism. We encountered Mephilia deep within the gardens to the west of Florem. She seems to know Adia, but the conversation went nowhere. Apparently she wasn't always like this. After defeating her in battle, she made a curious remark about seeing another soul within his. Then she slipped away. Einheria the Valkyrie, Bloodrose. She leads a force of female soldiers that are suppressing Crystalists in Florem. She was taught by the same master as Adia. A 28-year-old woman from Eternia. Her name is Einheria Venus, and she holds the Valkyrie asterisk. She is a serious, dedicated warrior who believes in the ideals of anti-crystalism. She cares for her sisters deeply, and worries about them a great deal. Likes traditional warriors and collecting old maps. Dislikes compromise and snakes. We headed to the hidden village to the north beyond the Witherwood after hearing of widespread suppression of Crystalists. There, we were set upon by the Valkyrie Einheria. She had lured us into a trap. It seemed she and Adia were peers that once treated each other as sisters, but with their ideals now in conflict, battle ensued. She died in indignation. Fiore the Red Mage, Bloodrose Legion leader. Behind his ladies' man veneer, he has set multiple schemes in motion to ruin Florem society based on Crystalist values. A 38-year-old man of unknown origin. His full name is Fiore de Rosa, and he holds the Red Mage asterisk. He is slowly but surely corrupting the devout nation of Florem from within with his meticulous schemes. Likes exploitable women, rising to power and fame. Dislikes children and stubborn underlings. We followed a suspicious man standing on a dark street corner in Florem to a secret underground lab. There, we encountered the Red Mage de Rosa, a high-ranking member of the Eternian forces sent to corrupt Florem. He plotted to capture Anius and Adia to further his career in Eternia, where we defeated him after a hectic struggle. Miasma Woods. These miasma-choked woods, the sole overland route to Florem, are less noxious now that wind has started blowing once more. An update to the Yorgana region. Route to Florem. Florem can be reached from Yorgana Woods via a canyon that cuts through Mount Fragmentum. The people of Florem say the old sage uses this route to come to trade. Florem region. Blessed with plentiful grasslands, forests, water, and flowers, this region lies east of Caldusla and north of Harina. It is also home to the Temple of Water. Nature's Bounty. The flower gardens have drawn people and animal alike to the region, and the great forests and pure flowing water sustain their lives. The people give thanks to the water crystal for the blessings of nature, making Florum a long-time center of crystalism. Flower gardens and forests. To the south stands the temple where the water crystal is enshrined. The clear waters cleansed by the temple empty into the Floorchime Inner Sea. Great flower gardens are located to the west, and to the east stretches a vast forest. The ages-old worship of the spirits of these lands still continues, in harmony with crystalism. Florum, land of radiant flowers. The ancient traditions of this land dictate that men may not permanently reside within its borders, and it is said that the radiant flowers mentioned in this name also refers to its women. Its capital city is built atop the bountiful waters of the Flore River. Pleasure Quarter. The bright, colorful area is an unexpected sight, as Florum is thought to be an impoverished yet honorable land, blessed more by nature's bounty than material wealth. It is far different from what Anius remembers when she visited as a child. Rivertop City. The lower area where the commoners once lived has been transformed into a shopping district, and the monuments venerating nature and the crystal have been torn down to make the way for a flashy stage and colorful, opulent buildings. It seems the city has undergone a major multi-year transformation into the pleasure district it is today. The decline of crystalism. Though Florum was once said to be the land most firmly rooted in crystalism in all of Luxembourg, there are few indicators left. The water vessel has gone to hiding, and the crystalist faithful cower in fear. Even the matriarch who governs this land has been driven to the fringes of the city, and can do nothing but watch the worsening changes. Temple of Water. Although it seems completely undamaged, unlike the sad state of the Temple of Wind, an eerie stillness and unsettling silence pervade its empty halls. The Awakening. Arrayed in her vestal garb, Anius chanted the ritual prayer to awaken the water crystal, which had been swallowed up in darkness. The crystal has now regained its radiance. Mount Fragmentum. This great mountain on the eastern edge of Florum was rent asunder over 1,000 years ago, opening up a pass to Yagara Woods. This forest of dead, withered trees lies to the north of Florum's expansive eastern forest. A hidden hamlet lies just beyond its northern fringe. Twisted Treetop. Mighty trees ringed by their dead, withered brethren can be found amid Florum's expansive eastern forest. At the treetop, there is a skeleton of a giant snake along with an unbearably putrid stench in the air. Florum Gardens. In western Florum, seasonal flowers bloom in profusion, as if each one were vying to outdo the other. The gardens can be reached by heading west from the Temple of Water, crossing the bridge, and then immediately heading north along the river. Twilight Ruins. Located on the western edge of Florum, far to the west of the Temple of Water, these ruins are believed to predate Florum's founding. Its deepest reaches are a training ground for the adherents of crystalism. Eisen Region. This area encompasses Eisenberg, mired in the throes of civil war, and the waters of the Sea of Corsairs, upon which Grandship floats. Sea of Corsairs. The waters upon which Grandship floats from Luxembourg's largest sea. It takes its name from the great pirate nation that flourished here in the golden age of piracy. There's no updates to terms, but there are some new notes: Mephilia's memo from defeating Mephilia Venus, and the red reports from defeating Red Mage Fiore de Rosa. I've read these in videos before, but I'll read them again in case you're interested. Though, if you already watched the videos, you can just skip this part. There's nothing new after this. Mephilia's memo. 906 EC10. I finally acquired the Summoner asterisk. No thanks to the old Lech's advice, mind. Feel it, don't think it. Every summon is like the summoner's own child. Utterly useless. And then after giving me Gerda Blulu, he has the nerve to say I'm on my own for the rest? Honestly. 1. Gerda Blulu. No entry. Hrelsvalger. Temple held in wind and sand's embrace. Zirsudra's sin. Foot of the mountains sundered by the holy war. 2. Promethean fire. Temple bathed in searing flame. Deus Ex. Ancient tower of prayer, buried in Viscera wrought by man. Susanoo. A crescent moon upon the frozen sea. 712 EC12. If Susanoo is the biggest challenge, I'll find him for you. Those are his words, sweet man. I'll have to hurry and find the others. It seems I'll share my next post with both my sisters. Use your Einheria's spear, Artemia's bow, and my summons, the Venus sisters will be unstoppable. Question mark EC16. I can't remember the date. Can't begin to care. This garden, this beautiful garden, is being sullied so magnificently, thanks to us. To our mission. The ship you sailed west has been lost. Missing, they say. Fools. Liars. Can't remember my own sister's face now. Can't remember yours, my Solomon. Gerda Blulu. A thousand-eyed beast that lurks within the street lamps at twilight. eclipses the blood-red sky with its massive forms that deals a crushing blow, earned by defeating Summoner Mephilia. Krelsvager, a great ebon eagle that sunders the dark clouds above, the beating of its vast wings cutting down foes upon the earth, earned from the Anchorite of Wind within the Temple of Wind. Zeosudra's Sin, a goddess of ice risen from the depths of the frozen sea, harbinger of a blizzard that leaves no life remaining, earned from the Anchorite of Water atop Mount Fragmentum. The blows exerted from the so-called Red Reports, thought to be penned by DeRosa. Secularizing Florem. After receiving operating funds from the Comrade and Profiteer Merchantry, my solo infiltration of Florem began. I've completed my survey of the area. Red Report, Entry Number 2. I have Artemia hunting down Woodland Orochi, the giant serpents native to the area. Ingredient A can be extracted from their corpses, which also produces an enzyme that promotes decomposition. In large quantities, it will transform Eastern Florem's woods, a target of worship, into a rotten waste. Red Report, Entry Number 3. Mephilia holds the Western Gardens and has begun exterminating the sprites known as Flories, another object of worship. This yields ingredient B and serves to keep locals away, undermining their nature worship. Female soldiers will adopt disguises and like cheap goods containing ingredients A and B into the market. Red Report, Entry Number 4. A mix of donations and bribes to local Orthodoxy officials has brought us considerable control over the sacred flower festival. Beginning next year, selection of the Flower Maiden will be open to the public and decided by popular vote. A substantial cash prize will also be awarded, further disrupting the balance of Florem's wealth. Red Report, Entry Number 5. After 3 years' work, the Orthodoxy has been completely driven out of the Flower Maiden's selection. Elsewhere, Einheria leads our forces within Florem in persecuting the faithful, crushing one hideaway after the next. Efforts to get the local Orthodoxy presence will be redoubled until the water vessel is driven into hiding. Red Report, Entry Number 6. Our underground base within Florem is complete, and experiments to extract ingredient C have succeeded. Combination with ingredient A has yielded Compound X. The turning of Florem's people away from the Orthodoxy approaches its climax. Elsewhere, ingredients A and B are still selling like mad, regardless of price hikes. That downer Kint refused to come aboard our plan to plunder Eternia. We'll have Profiteur deal with him, and strike the Orthodoxy treasury as planned. We'll incite the hostages to martyrdom in order to furnish a scapegoat. Kada will ready every compound he can, and the Foots will all die where they stand.